And roll 'em. Chris, welcome. Media theory and criticism will hunker down because some of them it's just my mouth speaking. What's the human universal for eye contact? Here we go. Here we do a personal time. Yeah, that's it. Chris, let's talk about studio audience. Chris, let's talk about we're starting to make these films out of anything, out of photographs from Photoshop. We covered the still image, and then this whole class is going to be divided, excuse me, between image, moving image, interactive image, and 4D space, whatever that means. That could mean further interactivity. Now, I want you to compare and contrast just the difference between watching a film and like playing a game. What's some of the first ideas?
Well, watching a film, I guess if it's a good enough film, you feel like you're involved with it.
Empathy.
Yeah, but whereas a game, you actually are creating what's going on. You can change, interact.
But are you really creating, or are these formats set up for a series of possibilities?
Actually, that is true. I guess it is grid-lined in a game as well. You can only do certain things, but I feel like maybe the user feels like they have more control over what happens, whereas a movie, you're just going to be watching it.
Let's say, gang, for an instance, that the great Greek playwrights had interactivity. They had games way back then, or even Shakespeare, right? And let's assume that these playwrights were hip and they're cool and they're throwing all that great content into their games. Where would we be with this medium? I mean, we're kind of a society used to watching things, and now Aeschylus and Sophocles have invented interactivity. Where would society be 2,000 years later?
Well, if I imagine we'd have Montague versus Capulet video games there, where if Shakespeare had the technology that we had, whereas but like Street Fighter action. But
so the sword fights would be longer. The Hamlet sword fight, Michelle, you would like to see a little longer sort of interaction between Romeo and Juliet, right? So you just kind of hit the play button, or you'd play it through, or play the game theory through. Chris, a couple of things. Do you play games in your life? Do you play games with your life?
With my life.
Schools, cars, romance.
I try not to play too many games, but I guess certain games. Well, with life in general, it's not really a game. I guess you're supposed to have fun with it, with life in general, but...
Certainly.
But I try to be more... I like to have fun, but I also like to be, have a goal in mind and to get to that goal.
So when you were running those guns, you just hoped to get in and out, just kidding, God. You didn't hear it. But let's hold with that theme. I mean, I just said Shakespeare or even the Greeks had this medium, and suddenly Borges, the great Argentinian writer, has that story. I forget which one it's called, The Lottery of Babylon, where every citizen wake up from sun up to sundown thinks about how to put their lives into a game form. So you would have a romance that would be based on games. You would go to college based on what kind of wager you're making. Aren't we living that already? Like, if you have a girlfriend?
That's complicated, but no, I'm going to say I'm single.
You just say no. Sorry, honey. So, whoever you are. Let's just say that every waking moment you're throwing your life into some sort of game format of I will win today or I'll lose today. What would that life be like?
Well, that life would suck. Are
you sure?
If there's no happy medium, if there's
Ian Shakespeare said no. There's something kind of frisky in that, right? You have a boyfriend. He's a nice boyfriend, but you accidentally get on one of these dating sites and you find an even nicer boyfriend, and you dump the old one for the one you just found, right? Why not? What's stopping you from doing something like that?
I guess morality. Like if you're happy.
Listen up.
If that person did make you happier, if you were on a dating website and you found someone that made you happier, then sure. But if it was...
But you also wouldn't want that to happen to you, so there's this reciprocal thing. But what if you're a monster? You're just like cutting through life like a hot knife through butter, right? You're just boyfriends, schmoyfriends, romance, I don't care. I'm just trying to find my most efficient equilibrium, what I deserve, right? And you're like, one night your girlfriend, who will go unmentioned, pisses you off, and you just crank open that 5 dating sites, whatever, the Plenty of Fish and Easy Date and Quickie Date and eBay Love and all of those things, and you just surf, and in 10 minutes you got a replacement. What is lost?
Well, you just met somebody on the internet who you know nothing really about, and you had something maybe special with that person who you dated for a while. So maybe
So history is important. The history of empathy is important. Those are beginnings. Jessica, how are ends? How are endings? The end game.
Well, it's easy to end something that was on the internet and didn't have history of it.
And maybe people like this a little bit better because it's easy to do the big unload, right? The pink slip. Your beau gets the pink slip in the mail. Said, "What did I do?" You say, "You did nothing, honey. It's just time." Right? Sounds cold, and it is cold. But Ian, your parents, could you be saying that to them too? You say, "Mom, Dad, you're just not holding your end up here. I've found replacement parents."
You could do, yeah, but what's the phrase? You can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family.
That's your genetic material, right? So,
people do, don't they?
But what if, okay, let's be absurd. What if mom and dad aren't keeping their ends up in terms of supporting you and there's not a shoulder to go crying on? They say, "Oh, get over it, just get with it. We've known you for years." And there's a site called surrogateparents.com, right? And you can go there and get a replacement, and then somehow they get money somewhere. There's a trade of money. And these two people are incredible. Like an older couple who want to continue to be parents. And these people are sterling, right? You give them an A- for growth right away. And you say, "Mom, Dad, Bob and Sarah are doing an incredible job parenting me." Here, Ian's from, where are you from? England. And he said, "It's about time I get some American parents," right? And he goes on this site, he gets them, and they're incredible. He's spending a couple nights a week over their place. He's asking just a little pocket change here or there, and he has problems in school or a relationship. He talks to these people, and he calls up his parents and say, "Marge and Sam, I don't think it's going to work. I've just found something a little more efficient," right? Is that cold?
Well,
is that surreal? Of course, but it could be cold, but it could, in a couple layers, it could be real.
It's never good to be on the bottom end of the stick. If you're his
So do unto others before they do unto you, right?
If you don't owe them anything, if they're genuinely doing a bad job or you're unhappy in a certain situation, then why not move on to a better situation?
This is what society is telling you all the time. You don't get that, you don't do well in your MCATs, go into health sciences, right? Michelle, is that what society is telling you? Don't even fret it. Don't even waste tears over that blown MCAT score. Just move, keep on keeping on, right?
But if it's what you want to do, wouldn't you try again?
Okay, so what if your beau says, "Well, honey, I know we've been having a rough patch this month. I really want to stick it out." What would you do? Hang with him?
If you want to, it's all about what you want to do. Yeah.
Okay, but this is all about what should be done, right, Aki?
Yeah.
In this society, on this campus, right? No. Who said no?
Abigail.
Abigail, why not?
I just don't think, in certain things like love and all that there should be any rules. I know that sounds harsh, but if someone's not doing it for you, even if you might cross a supposed line of morality, you gotta do what's gonna make you happy because you only have one life. Do whatever.
I like that. And within that one life, the coward dies many times, but the valiant just once, right? So who knows? All of this is a tribute to all the parents who've stayed together their whole lives and all of that. There's new rules, new games, but sometimes we have the old rules. We're coming around the corner. Thank you, Chris.
You for having me.
Thank you, YouTube. See you on.